Hey y'all, this is Gail. I'm teaching gentle yoga for low back care, actually for healthy back care, here on Veterans Yoga Project online yoga studio. But if you're seeing this now, it's a recording and you get to repeat it as much as you want later on in the week, if you need more than once a week. Okay, I digress, therefore I am. Today's class, we're going to need a strap, a block, optional stuff, a chair, a blanket. Some folks like to use the wall for final relaxation. Some people like to put their legs on the couch or on the chair. So, good stuff to have. Now, if you got knees that tend to fly up towards your armpits when you sit on the floor, maybe you need two blocks to rest underneath the underside of the legs. That often makes it comfortable when we're sitting flat on the ground. Now, for those of you that are no way going to get down to the floor, use the chair. Or if you want to transition to the chair for things that we do seated on the ground, lying on the ground, go to the chair. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm going to stand up, move this chair out of the way, go over to the chair to get down to the floor. Near the end of the class, I'll come back up here to do our guided rest and relaxation and our gratitude practice. We've had a request today for letter T arms. So basically, let me come down here. We're going to be doing part of that posture where we take the hands, fold the fingers into the palms. So a lot of times people have kind of like awkward tops of the hands, wrists. They cock their wrist or whatever. The objective is to try to keep the palm aligned with the forearm. It also, engages the forearm muscles when we do this posture. Letter T arms is what we're going to be working towards. If you're seated in the chair, that's basically parallel arms to the floor, and you're still doing those letter T or these golfer grip hands. You're going to be squeezing the shoulders towards one another and release. On the floor, on the couch or the bed, you're squeezing the shoulders towards one another and pushing the shoulders into the ground, which is a little bit more effective, but you still get the upper back workout, whether you're seated in the chair, lying on your back. We're also going to be doing arm circles where we also use the golfer's grip. So again, let me come over to the chair to get down to the floor. You just saw me get up off the floor without the chair. It happens sometimes. So I squeeze my belly button, stick one leg way out, come down to my knee that's best for me, and then I tip over. I don't come down to that other knee with much weight bearing, just because sometimes it can get spicy. Look, my block and my strap are way far away. So make sure your gear is close to you because we're going to need it. So my hope is that we're going to do arm circles with the golfer's grip when we do our warrior poses, whether we're seated in the chair, whether we're lying on our back. So we'll start out in constructive rest pose. That's lying on your back, knees bent, sitting comfortably on your chair with your feet firm into the floor. So I always have to make adjustments on this because this feels very strange, odd in my body. Ooh, I just felt my back pop. Okay, so I have like a 40-degree angle, a curve, and a twist in my spine. It's called retrolisthesis or retroscoliosis because it's not only it shifts, but it also twists. So for me, this feels uncomfortable in the upper body. I just take my hand and roll the shoulder up and away. Ooh, that feels better already. And do the same with the other side. And sometimes I'll walk my feet towards my behind, lift up, and then reposition my low back on down to make that low back, because I have a twist that goes into my pelvis, a little bit more comfortable. So this is wonderful. This is one of the postures. If you can get down to the floor, your couch or bed, knees bent, feet parallel, lying on your back. Sometimes on the couch, though, you have limited real estate, but it's still very effective for releasing that tension in the spine. Now, my advice to you, though, if you're doing this on the bed, on the couch, don't have something up here like you're watching TV doing this, because that's not going to release stuff going on in your back. Try to have it to where your eyes are looking at the ceiling, your nose pointing right at the ceiling. And if you find yourself that your nose is kind of pointed back behind you, that means you need to take your hands, whether you're here or on the couch or the bed, back behind you, lift up, and then kind of bring that chin in towards the chest. So it's kind of like you have extra neck squishiness going on here, but everything's nice and aligned when you do that. From here, just kind of, we're going to move into the next posture called notice pose. So I'm going to squeeze my belly button towards my spine, whether you're seated or standing, and start extending my leg out towards the edge of the floor, the edge of the yoga mat, or maybe past it. So I'm on the back of the heels if I'm doing this seated in the chair. And I'm noticing what strain, what contra feelings I'm having here in the hip bones and the hip musculature. And do the same with the other side. So the side that's closest to you, that's my spicy side. So it's like, ooh, I feel kind of like drawn up, kind of pulled on this left side of the body compared to the right. So that's what you do. You compare one side of your body versus the other, upper body versus the lower. Do you feel more of your back on the ground on the right side versus the left? Or can you even notice? Typically, if you're more kind of even, it feels really comfortable. It feels okay. Because I have a pacemaker, sometimes my pacemaker shifts up my body. So lying on the back for long periods of times doesn't feel comfortable sometimes in my body. So I have to be mindful of that. And you just be mindful of what's going on with you too. Let's go back. We're just noticing, doing a snapshot in our notice pose. Squeeze the belly button. Bring a foot back onto the floor with the knee bent and then the other. Woo. We're going to do piriformis bounce and pigeon, and then move on to letter T arms, overhead extension, and squeezy block. That's a lot of words, huh? So I'm going to turn a little bit, turn a little sideways, just in case the new folks have come into the room. We're going to extend the leg up into the air and just bring the leg that's up in the air over the other leg. Now, if this is not available to you seated on the chair, alternatively, you can take this foot and cross it at the ankle with that knee way out. So we're getting into that hip musculature here, which helps lessen sciatica challenges. And what we'll do, I'm going to find my block, make it be close by. We're going to take our hand on our leg and bounce it. Now, seated on the chair, that's not going to be as easy to do. Maybe you pull it towards you and let it drop. It's going to be a little bit different movement in the pelvis when you pull it towards you. If you're laying on your back and you want to try that, pull it towards you, notice what moves and release, and then push away and notice what moves. It's a little bit more constricted movement when you push it away as opposed to pull it towards you. But I like both. But typically I just push it away. In more advanced, beginner, intermediate classes, advanced classes, they do a version of this where you have your hips down onto the floor, one leg behind you, one knee in front of you, the pigeon pose. For those of us that are challenged with back issues, this is the better place to be to begin with. All right, we're going to make that leg still, and then we're going to think about the bottom foot. We're going to tap, tap, tap that bottom foot. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. And then press that bottom foot firmly into the floor. You may feel this little traction feeling happening from the hips, the shoulders when you do that. Now, I invite you to squeeze both bones. So squeeze both bones. Take that top foot, point it towards your knee so you got that calf engaged. And then as you're squeezing both bones, pressing that bottom foot into the floor, take your hand and press that top leg away. Or take your yoga block and press it away. If you're seated in the chair, you can hinge forward for more spice. Now, more spice is not necessarily the thing to do. All I'm encouraging you to do is kind of feel stuff going on here. If it's strong, return your attention to your breath. As you breathe in, listen to your breath. Belly rises. And then exhale, belly button towards your spine. Oh, we didn't do the breathing today. We'll just do it right now. Inhale, belly big. Let it be soft, and then exhale, contract. And I'm breathing through the mouth so you can hear it. Again, breathe in, belly big. Exhale, belly button towards your spine. And let everything relax and release. Bounce the leg again. Use your block, use your hand, pull it towards you. Very good. Take that leg up and off. Maybe you want to shake it a little bit, wiggle it a little bit, and release that down to the floor. Let's do the other side. So other leg up. Ooh, that's my spicy side. My hip musculature is grabbing today. This leg that's in the air, bring it on top of the other leg, or again, cross the ankle bone, and we'll start bouncing. I'm hoping the bouncing helps me with my kind of grabby pain today. Since I was sick about 2 weeks ago, I'm finding my recovery is not as snappy, is not as getting back to normal, as I have been in the past. So I'm finding that I'm not able to exercise, do my yoga as much to help me with my pain. So I'm doing extra yoga nidras to help me with that. And extra little kind of piriformis bounce pigeons. That's really good for my challenges. Okay, wherever you are, let everything be still. We're going to tap, tap, tap that bottom foot. And then press that bottom foot firmly into the floor. Feel that bottom quadricep kind of contracted when you do that. If you can, squeeze both buns. And then take the top toes, point them towards your knee. And you can either use your own muscular strength to push the top leg away, or take your fingers or your yoga block to push it away. Hinge forward if you're seated in the chair to add a little more spice. But keep pressing into that bottom foot. Don't lose the bottom foot, okay? Again, just another reminder, Sunday, change in your app, wherever you take the yoga, Veterans Yoga Project Yoga, change it to daylight time, okay? I don't know how to tell you otherwise how to do that. There may be some clues up on our website. So there you go. I'm looking forward to the daylight time just so that I can have more daylight time. There you go. Woo! Oh, that's kind of spicy. Are you still squeezing the buns? I lost mine. Imagine you all did too. Keep squeezing them. And then relax, release. Whew. Bounce the leg. Ooh, yeah, definitely feeling lots better just with that combination movement there. And then take the leg up and off, shake it, wiggle it a little bit. Very nice. We're going to do windshield wipers next. I'm going to stay here at this weird angle to do that. I'll lift my behind a little bit though. All right, so we're going to take one foot out to the side. So if you're on the chair, you can be on the block and on the balls of the feet to kind of make that knee open out to the side, or just use the floor. Now, if this is too spicy for that groin, the inner thigh, you can take your block underneath for a little bit of weight support of your leg, because your leg weight is going to draw it more towards the floor if you don't do that, if that's a challenge for you. Other leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. You're going to notice this kind of little low lumbar twist, little pulling sensation happening in the top side of the body. Hopefully it's good stuff, right? Remember, you don't have to have that top leg be on top of the bottom leg. We're trying to feel this kind of generous, that's one word for it, generous kind of sensation happening in that top side of the body. Might not be too noticeable, but maybe you do notice it. Now squeeze the belly button. Bring top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Woo! We're going to do the other side. I'm looking to see if I have any wall space. I probably do. So do the other side. Okay, I do have wall space. Now already I'm feeling spice on that top hip. So I'm going to be very cautious as I drop the top leg towards the bottom leg. So sometimes if you don't want to go too far, you can also take that yoga block in between the legs to where that top leg is not going to go too deep into the movement. So again, I'm having a bit of spice today. I'm going to take the heel of my hand, press into the place that's having a little bit of challenge, and just press down. It's kind of like a counterbalance for what's going on in my body. Like kind of stimulating that trigger point that's kind of like giving me a little sensation of there's something going on there. And this is nice. And sometimes you can, press into trigger areas with, a thumb, with a TheraStick or a tiger tail. Those are like self-massage things that you can use to help release trigger points in your body. Squeeze the belly button, bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. And let's do that again. I'm going to go back to my original position. So drop a leg, drop the other one, hang out here. Notice if you're twisting more. So piriformis bounce, pigeon, windshield wipers are part of the formula for easing back pain. It's just kind of softly, gently, mindfully, lots of lees, getting into the body, letting, things just hang out and just release. Squeeze the belly button, top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Let's do the other side. Drop the knee out, drop the other knee out. So again, I'm already noticing less strong sensation. I'm going to breathe a little bit deeper. Sometimes breathing deeper makes it more spicy, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Back off if you need to. Just know that you're going to do what you can with what you got today, okay? Squeeze the belly button, engage the core, bring the top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. And let's go ahead and extend a leg. Let's do the notice pose. Shake it out, wiggle it out a little bit. Do the other one. In fact, we're going to do foot windshield wipers. I don't know if we've done that before, but basically from the ankles, you're just swishing the feet side to side. There's a little hip action that happens with that. And if you want to add more hip, then you just kind of roll side to side. That might be spicy. You may just want to do the feet, okay? And then maybe just wiggle the shoulders. Again, and then be still. Notice what you notice compared to the first time we did this, your little intermediate snapshot. Squeeze the belly button, slide a foot onto the yoga mat, then the other. Now I'm going to come up, but y'all can stay on your back. I'm just going to explain about golfer's grip for those that came in a little bit later. So we're going to take the hands, spread them out, fold the fingers into the pads of the hands. And then we have the top of the hand aligned with the forearm. So that's what I mean by golfer's grip. We're going to do letter T arms, squeeze a block, and then have the arms go up and overhead. This can be done seated in the chair. I showed the chair version earlier. And so let's get to it, shall we? Grab your yoga block. And every time I come up, I make my yoga mat go all wiggly, wrinkly. I'm going to take the medium width of the yoga block, place it in between my knees, and I'm walking my feet towards my behind. I just like to do that. And then, you know what, I'm going to lift my behind and reposition my low back on down. And I'm wiggling my shoulders. I'm just getting everything kind of nice and comfortable into the floor. So we're going to take our hands out in front of us like we're getting ready to fly, yeah? We're going to fold the fingers into the pads of the hands, turn the thumbs towards the center, and then I'm going to walk my feet in to where I feel that squeeze in the inner thighs. With my golfer's grip here, I'm going to bend at the elbows, parallel arms to the floor if you're seated, and then it looks like a weird letter T going on here, yeah? You may notice some low abdominal activation when we do this also. So what we're going to do is squeeze the shoulders towards one another or press the shoulders into the floor and squeeze and release. You keep a constant squeeze of the block, okay? You don't have to super squeeze when we squeeze the shoulders, but if you want to, that's okay too. So let's squeeze again and release. Squeeze and release. So my right hand, squeeze. I can't get the fingers down quite yet. And release. And again, squeeze and release. Let's do some circulation for the hands. Clap the hands in front of your chest. And then rub vigorously like you're making meatballs or rolling out Play-Doh. I don't know. But this is, a little bit more very intentional palm rubbing. Getting those palms. Now move the heat into the fingers. Very good. Next part of this letter T posture is to interlace the fingers, make the arms be super straight in front of your body. Now, if you're lying on your back, let the shoulders relax down to the floor. Check your elbows. My right elbow likes to turn out, so I try to make them the same. And then squeeze the belly button towards your spine very slowly with intentionality. We're going to bring those arms up overhead. Now, slow, okay, not fast. And you may feel your navel center, your lower abdominals, various places in your lower torso getting activated. Then you're going to pause at a natural pausing place with super straight arms. Don't bend those elbows. So mine are in front of my glasses. So I'm just kind of noting my range of motion here. And then with a super squeeze, belly button towards my spine, squeezy block, bring the hands back in front of your chest slowly, slowly. Whew. Once they get kind of in front of your chest, release the fingers, clap the hands, rub those palms once again. Oh, that feels good. Fold those fingers into the pads of the hands. Go back to golfer's grip. We've got those little Superman arms, Superwoman arms going on here. Bend at the elbows, back of the arms on the floor, parallel arms to the floor if you're seated. Squeeze the block. Always relax that squeeze of the block. And then squeeze the shoulders into the floor and release. Squeeze and release. Keep squeezing and releasing. This is to strengthen the upper back musculature. So oftentimes where our pain is not where the problem is. It's often a referred pain. So we strengthen upper and lower and mid part of the back when we do this. One more squeeze, squeeze. And then bring the hands in front of your chest, clap the hands. Get that heat going on. I love it, I love it, I love it. Or I absolutely hate it. Feel like I'm exfoliating my palms. That's what I'm doing. Okay, there you go. I know, gross. Okay, interlace the fingers, squeezy palms, super straight arms, shoulders down, elbows look the same. Check, check, check. Okay, here we go. Belly button tight, low belly tight, up and overhead. Now, when you're lying on your back, sometimes that arm weight takes you a little too far, so be very intentional here. In other words, have lots of control. Ooh, I'm on the sides of my glasses now, and I feel my shoulders kind of going, ooh, that's enough. That's enough. Again, belly button tight. If you've got some spasming going on, do less. Just know it from me. If you got spasms, woo, release from that, okay? Now, belly button tight, and very slowly bring it back. So there's the challenge right here. We got the sneaky core work happening right here when we bring things back to the starting place. Release the fingers, clap the hands. Yay, that's over, almost. We got one more round. We do 3 rounds of this, at least 5 squeezes, maybe more. I think we did more because I was talking a little bit, yeah? Oh, yeah. Fold those fingers, go back to golfer's grip. Notice if more fingers are attached to your palms. My right hand finally came down, except for that middle finger. That's okay. Bend the elbows, back of the arms. Okay, wiggle the shoulders if you need to. Parallel arms to the floor, belly button tight. Here we go. Squeeze the block. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze the shoulders and release. Squeeze, press, and release. 3 more. Squeeze, press, release. 2 more. Squeeze and release. And 1 more. Make it big. Wow. Okay, and clap the hands. Rub those hands. 1 more overhead extension with the shoulders connected to the floor. So interlace those fingers, squeeze the palms, elbows the same, shoulders down. Lots of words. Belly button tight. Slowly. Slowly. Arms overhead. Just keep breathing. Don't hold the breath. Just keep breathing, breathing, breathing. I'm going to wiggle my thumbs. I'm not quite down to the floor. Typically, I do get down to the floor, but not today. That's okay. No spasming, so that's the bonus. And squeeze the palm, squeeze the belly button slowly. My voice is cracking. Bring it back. And I said slow in front of your chest. Clap the hands last time in this configuration. Get some circulation going on, going on, going on, going on. Yay, I love it, or I hate it. Okay, very nice. Let's do notice pose once again. Release the block and extend a leg. And then do the other one. Shake a little bit, wiggle a little bit. Just notice again if there's still some tightness going on. Nope. There's still some pain going on. Maybe. Again, do what you can with what you got. Let's slide a foot back onto the yoga mat, then the other. We're going to roll over onto our side. So I always like to lift up and then turn. Ooh, it's kind of spicy today. Again, since I've been a little ill, I've not been able to do what I normally do. Come up. And today I'm going to be on the chair because, again, I'm encountering a little bit more stuff than I'm used to. So again, some days it's going to be like that. You do not need to be in pain when you're doing these things. I mean, you may have some challenges, right? But you know what? I need to use the chair to come up today too. It's not pretty. So you're going to come to sit on your behind, whether you're sitting here on the yoga mat, on the floor, or on the chair, or on that couch. And I'm making sure this can be seen in the camera. And you know what? Need my block and my strap close by, quite possibly. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so if you're sitting crisscross, you're sitting, on your behind, you may want to be on a rolled up blanket. Or what some folks will do, this is kind of spicy for me, but they'll sit on their yoga block in order to have that pelvis tilt forward. So what I like about the chair, I'm kind of more at the front lip of the chair, and it just kind of naturally tilts towards the front of the room. So seated on the chair, you have more parallel legs than you do. Of course, seated, you have the cross legs. We're going to do the unsupported twist first. So fingers are kind of do those little jazz fingers. I'm going to bring them out and then squeeze them in. So you should feel that upper back musculature. So your arms look like a letter W, kind of. And I'm going to bring my feet a little bit more forward since I'm seated here on the chair to where they're more at a 90-degree angle. You've got shorter legs, 2 yoga blocks, 1 foot each on a yoga block, kind of allows the floor to come up to you to where you can facilitate that right angle. Again, it depends on the height of your chair. All right, so breathe in, belly big, squeeze the shoulders, and then belly button tight, turn towards one side of the room. So we're just letting that thoracic, the mid-spine, do the work. Beautiful. Chin aligned with your chest. Breathe in, belly big, and then contract that belly button. Bring it back to the center. Very nice. We're going to go over to the other side, but first breathe. Breathe in, squeeze shoulders, belly soft as best you can. Contract that belly button, and then twist over to the other side. Maybe you twisted more, maybe not. Breathe in, belly big. Exhale, belly button towards the spine. Come back to the center. Relax the shoulders. In fact, let's just do alternating shoulder rolls. And then reverse. We're going to try this seated on our behind. I'm not sure how that's going to work for those of us with spicy challenges, seated on a chair, but we're going to do the arm circles seated. If you think it's going to be a challenge, maybe you want to be standing with legs parallel, looking like number 11s. So we're going to take the hands, squeeze them into the palms. First, we have that letter W configuration of our arms to squeeze the shoulders. And then with the squeezed shoulders, extend the arms out. Now, maybe the arms are lower or they're parallel to the floor to where you look like a letter T, yeah? And then, again, the thumbs, I have them up now, but I'm pointing them down to where they're parallel, pointing towards you. And I'm going to look side to side eventually, but we're going to draw circles forward and back behind. You may do one at a time. Super squeeze the shoulders. There's this little wave-like motion happening from the pelvis to the shoulder girdle. Just kind of notice that. Whew. Especially you're squeezing. This is that bilateral movement to get us all kind of posturally aligned with these yoga postures. I love it. That's a bunch of words, huh? 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Release it, shake it out. Sometimes being in that just kind of feels like, ooh, man, got some work going on there, right? Now we got to do the reverse of that to where we're doing circles back behind us. So again, golfer's grip, letter W, squeeze the shoulders, go back to thumbs towards the front of the room, then point the thumbs up and then back behind you. Ooh, interesting, yeah? Draw circles behind you and forward. I usually work up to 40. It took me a bit to do 40. But my body always felt better afterwards. Just this arm circles, whether I was seated, standing. I don't like to do them seated on the floor, though. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Beautiful. You know what? Just kind of punch to get that shoulder out of the equation. Okay, next is our warrior postures. You can be seated or you can be standing. You can use a chair or not use a chair. If you're seated, you're going to take a leg out to the side, one knee towards the front of the room, one knee towards the other. You may feel a little inner thigh business going on. If you're standing, step those feet wide. And just because you're seated doesn't mean that there's not work happening. You're going to press firm into the floor, which may scoot you back in your chair a little bit to where you engage those leg muscles. Yeah. Now, those of you standing, yeah, you can just be standing, right? But let's make it a little bit more active. I'm going to turn short toes towards the short end of the yoga mat, bend my knee, check my knee-toe alignment. I kind of lean over when I do that, and then I reline my shoulders or my hips. I'm going to heel toe out with the other foot because I'm super long legs. Again, this is very not active for me. I got to think about pressing firm into the floor and then pressing the legs opposite ends of the room. So I get into that hip musculature, which often is a source of back pain. Woo! So are you strong in your feet? I'm going to hear y'all say yes. Strong in your pushing into the floor. Some of us with feet challenges, neuropathy, do not feel this. So what you can do is, press a hand down to press down into the floor, just to kind of like, can I feel that I'm doing this a little bit stronger? Maybe, maybe not. Arms slice the air, squeeze the shoulders, press firmly into the floor. This is Virabhadrasana 2, otherwise known as Warrior 2 posture, strong feet. So we stay in this posture about 30 seconds for bone building. So the arms aren't just out here, okay? I just flopped them out here. We're squeezing the shoulders and extending the arms out from those squeezy shoulders. If someone were to come around you and press down on your forearm, you would have resistance going on. That's how you're doing this, okay? And then release the hands, release the shoulders, straighten that leg, pivot the foot. Let's switch over to the other side. Heel toe in, bring the knees together. If you're seated, step a leg out for the other side. Let's step our feet out for Warrior 2 on the other side. Lift the heel, turn a foot, bend the knee. Okay, now I'm looking. Is it aligned? Yes, it is. Okay. And then I'm thinking, okay, press firmly into the floor and then press those feet opposite ends as if you're smoothing out a wrinkle on your yoga mat. Arms slice out to that letter T. Squeeze the shoulders, extend, maybe bend the knee some more. Firm feet into the floor. You can look forward. You can turn the chin to look over the bent knee side or wherever you step the leg out, okay? We're staying here vigorously with those legs, with those hip bones. Make it bone building. So some of the yoga postures we do for easing back challenges are also some of the yoga poses we use for building bones. So to stimulate bones, you got to stimulate muscles, our large muscles. You got to stay in the posture with the contracted muscles for about 30 seconds to 112 seconds to have that bone building benefit. Contracted muscles stimulate bone growth. So good stuff or bad stuff. I don't know. Release the arms. Woo. Sometimes it gives you instant relief just bringing those hands in. Straighten that leg, pivot the foot, walk the feet in. Okay, so we're going to do Warrior 1. We're going to do this with intentionality. If you're seated on the chair, you're going to turn your knees towards one direction and then bring a leg in front and then scoot that leg back. Now I'm leaned out over past aligned with my hips. So what I try to do is have my shoulders aligned with my hip. That causes a back bend, causes activation of that back leg. Press firmly into that forward heel, other toes. Arms can be up, grabbing the chair, heart center. For the standing version of this, and I'm just going to do this with the chair, you can either be at the top of your yoga mat and step a foot back, bend that back, bend the forward knee, have that back leg be straight. So for some folks, this is quite wobbly. It's like being a slalom ski. I'm going to show this with the chair. I'm going to be here at the very front of my chair and step my foot back, bend the forward knee. And some folks, this is quite wiggly. You may want to take that back foot and bring it a little bit more wide. So both hips are somewhat in alignment with each other. And again, think about shoulders over the hips, that back leg. You're going to feel that in that quadricep, the hip flexors, the back booty, a little bit of back bend, heart rate kicks up. Again, this is a bone building posture also, but you got to think about firm feet into the floor, optional arms up, out to the side, hands center, hanging onto the chair, really strong back leg, heel down. Now heel up, it's called crescent lunge, but we're doing warrior one. Press firm into the floor and release. Release if you're seated in the chair. We let you sit in the chair a little bit on that one. Now swivel over to the other side to do the other leg. So again, the foot that's nearest the chair, I have that be at the top. I step the other one back. Do the other one, step the other foot back, and again decide, do I need to have that back foot maybe heel-toed out to where it's a little bit wider between the feet, and then bend the forward knee. We try not to have the forward knee past the forward ankle, so you may have to step that back leg back further to help facilitate that. Firm calf, oh my. You're probably feeling your calf firmly into the floor. Press firmly into both feet. Think about, okay, maybe you're shifted forward. Shift yourself to where the shoulders over the hips. Strong back leg. Breathe. Arm or arms up. I'm just doing one today. I'm quite wiggly today. Now, those of us with SI joint dysfunction, this may not be a happy pose for you. So you may want to make your distance between your front leg and your back leg a little bit less and bend that forward knee, bend that back knee just a little bit. Make it less spicy. And that's okay. And release. Shake it out. All right, let's do our tree pose. So if you're doing tree pose seated in the chair, you take your yoga block and place it a little bit away from the front of your chair. You come near the lip of your chair to where you can place, I'm going to bring that more to the, right next to the other foot. See if you can see that. Yeah, you can. And then place the foot out to the side. Now I'm pressing firmly into the ball of the foot, getting into that hip musculature, arms up. So I can do arms up much easier than I can standing. So this is your seated tree posture. If you're doing the standing one, step a foot out, lift a heel, turn the foot out, start bringing it in. It can be on the ground. It can be to that calf. It could be to the inner thigh, but not along the knee joint if you can. Now try not to jut your hip out. Try to have a long, tall side. Now I can't quite do this one today, so I'm going to go back down to the floor and think firmly about pressing into the floor, lengthening from my pubic bone up through my collarbone into the sky. This is still a balanced pose, even with both feet on the floor, because you only have part of your tree foot on the ground. Tree foot? Yeah, tree foot. Whoa, I'm wiggling. That's okay. You may be noticing the dance of the foot happening here. Knee out to the side, getting into that hip musculature. I love it. And again, woo, if we want it bone building, we got to stay here about 30 seconds, but I'm about done. And release. So again, that's kind of vigorous to hold that. Maybe move your body a little bit. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So shift your block over to the other side to do the other. You're doing the seated version today. Step it out. Lift, turn. Your balancing foot, make sure it's not going out to the side. It's pointed kind of in alignment with your thigh here. All right. Again, try not to jut. Try to be a tall line from your armpit to your ankle. Let's see, if we can have an armpit, we can have a knee pit, right? An elbow pit. Why not? Again, sometimes the knee likes to travel to the front. Invite it to be out to the side. Yeah? Firm foot into the floor, whatever you're doing here today. Think about lengthen it. Don't hunker down. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Love it. Y'all doing awesome. Keep breathing. I'm swaying today. and release. A little bit of movement there. Okay, so we're going to do 8 movement meditation. You can either be standing, seated. It's a little hard to do this one seated on your behind on the floor, so either one of those, yeah, or on the couch. I'm going to do mine seated today. And again, I try to have, don't try to have my knees knocked in or my knees knocked out. Just kind of in alignment with my hip bones here. And same with standing. Whatever your comfortable stance is, be in that stance. And we'll start out in tall seated mountain where the palms are forward. And you're just kind of like relaxing those shoulders out here a bit. Very good. Whew. So from here, let's inhale, gather our arms in. So in front of the legs. Exhale, raise it up to shoulder height. Inhale, expand outwards. Exhale, contract those arms inward. Inhale, flow it in towards the chest. Exhale, flow forward. Inhale, let's descend. Exhale, disperse out. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale, gather in. One breath, one movement. Exhale, rise. Helps with lowering stress. Inhale, open outwards. Lessens that cortisol. Exhale, contract the arms inward. Inhale, flow towards your chest. Listen to the breath. Exhale, flow it forward. Inhale, descend. Exhale, disperse out. So next is seated or standing chair pose. So inhale, circle, sweep arms up. If you're seated, you're going to bend your elbows and then hinge forward, press firmly into the floor. If you're standing, bend the elbows, bend the knees, stick your booty out. Yeah? And then inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, press into the feet, bend those knees. Again, inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Vigorously bend the elbows, bend the knees, lower your booty. This is your booty fabulous yoga posture. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. It's also known as the functional movements of getting up and off the toilet, keeping your body strength to avoid plopping. One more time. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up. This time, hands come to heart center. Down to heart center. Place the sides of the thumbs into your chest. Feel that heartbeat just for a second. And then let's come down to the floor or back to the chair. We're going to grab our yoga block. We're going to do block bridge before we go into our guided rest and relaxation and gratitude practice. Because I was so close to the floor, I just had to swivel onto my knees to get down to the ground. So I kind of like that when we're using the chair and needing to get back down. So for block bridge, you need a yoga block. If you don't have one, you can also use a foam roller. It's not as stable, or a large book, or just use the floor. That works too. So first, we'll go into constructive rest pose, easy seated in the chair. Do notice pose, and then go into block bridge. So I invite you to come back down onto your back. Take your time. Remember, we don't have to do this any ways fast. And just kind of notice what you notice here. Let's go ahead and extend one leg, then the other. Let's do those little swishy windshield wiper feet. And then relax, release everything into the floor. Good. Maybe it feels different. Maybe it doesn't. Squeeze the belly button, slide a foot back onto the yoga mat, then the other. And if you have a block, you're going to bring that block to be laying your behind on it. So I'm going to walk my feet towards my behind, lift up, use my body to lift up, lay on the edge of my block, and then I kind of walk my shoulders away a little bit. Maybe walk my feet away today. And just kind of notice how that feels. So this also helps with pelvic prolapse. Let's see, the bladder, the rectum, and all the associated male-female parts. So this is kind of working gravity naturally if you have any of those challenges. Raise the leg up, and let's just kind of shake that leg and wiggle it. This is part of a lymphatic drainage kind of sequence we can do. When you're upside down, you can use gravity to your advantage, yeah? And then put that one back on down. Plus it allows us to stay in block bridge a little bit. And raise the other one up and shake. And we didn't do some of our traditional ones that we did today, so you may want to look at some of the previous videos if you want to have, the big toe hold and knee to chest, extended leg, that type of thing. There's so many little combinations and permutations that we can do for back yoga, yeah? Now, if you want to do both, or one at a time seated on the chair, wiggle both. You're seated on a chair, hopefully it has a little back to where you can place this yoga block, where you can press that low back into the block. Mine does not have a back side to it, so that does not work. And side to side, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, now we're going to lower one leg, squeeze the belly, lower the other, press into the floor with your shoulders, with your feet, raise up just a bit, peel that block out, roll your spine down. Notice what you notice here. Just going to let it relax, release, and extend one leg, then the other. Move those shoulders, move those feet. Now you may want to stay here, or you may want to have knees together, feet apart. That's often very nice for those of us with back challenges. So wherever you're going to be, get comfortable. We're going to do a little breath work first, and then get into our guided rest and relaxation. So I'm going to come up to seated to guide you in the breath work. Again, get comfortable. That might be legs on the seat of the chair. It might be legs on the wall or the couch. So we're doing what's called the extended exhale breath. That's to lessen the monkey mind of repetitive thoughts that might be happening with an earworm or something that you're thinking about over and over. It also helps to lower blood pressure, lessen the heart rate. The way that we do this, very simply, hands can rest on your torso, on your belly, or out to the side. I like on the belly because I can notice if my belly is rising and falling. And we breathe from the belly and then up the upper belly and the chest. So it kind of moves from the bottom up to the top. We breathe in for a count of 4. I'll clap for a count of 4. We'll pause. And then we'll slowly exhale to a count of 5. Pause at the bottom of the breath. Breathe in to a count of 4. Pause. Exhale to a count of 5. So that's the regimen that we're doing today. So I invite you to place your hands on your torso wherever you are, or maybe rest them gently on your lap, whatever's best, or out to the side, okay? So from here, let's breathe in. And then pausing, slowly exhale, contract that belly button. Again, breathe in, belly, belly big. Slowly exhale. Listen to the sound as it goes in through the nose, out through the nose. And when you're ready, the next breath, breathe in. Slowly out. One more time. Breathe in, belly, chest big. Then slowly, slowly out. Just go back to your normal breath, whatever that might be for you. You can continue to do the slow inhale, even slower exhale if you so choose. If you need to get a little bit more comfortable, maybe something doesn't feel quite right, you always have permission to move and make it feel a little bit better. So get a little bit more comfortable. Good. And I invite you just to notice your breath. Just notice that you're breathing. Don't change it in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? and to breathe out. Again, breathe in, belly big. Breathe out. Beautiful. Listen to the other sounds that you might hear in the room that's with you at the moment. Maybe you hear your own breath as it goes in through the nostril tips and out. Maybe you hear the air conditioner or the heater. Maybe you hear something down the hallway or wherever you are at. So just kind of radiate your hearing out. See what you notice. And then maybe what you don't notice, maybe you don't hear anything. Maybe only you hear the breath, and that's okay. And then start moving things that are being with some sound away from you. Move it more close to you. Again, that might be the air conditioner. It might be your own breath. Good. From here, just notice the surface that's supporting you today. So if you're seated in the chair, you're noticing the seat of the chair, the back of the chair, the bottom of your feet into the floor. Maybe you're noticing the arms draped laying on your lap, or your hands on your chest or your belly. So imagine anything that's touching what supports, just imagine it sinking, settling into that surface. So it's heavy like a rock. So heavy that you're making an impression into the surface that's supporting you. If you're lying on your back, noticing the buttocks, the shoulders, the back of the head, the calves maybe, the back of the ankles. Again, you're sinking, settling into that surface that's supporting you. Good. Now, let's flip that to the front places in the body. Places that are not touching what supports. So maybe you're noticing the air coming across the skin, the clothing draped on the body. You might notice, air coming across the face, the feet. Again, those front places in the body, just notice how they feel lighter compared to the places that are being supported by the surface beneath us. Heavy, heavy, heavy versus feeling light in the body. The arms are light, the legs are light. The whole front side of the body as light as a feather, as if you were slowly floating up skyward. Good. And then come back to the breath. Again, don't change it in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? And what does it feel like here to breathe out? Again, breathing in, breathing out. If you're lying on your back, I invite you to bend one knee, then the other, little movements in your toes and your feet as you do that. Maybe you can bring the knees into your chest and do some little knee circles. If you're seated, maybe you can do some little shoulder circles. Get some body movement going on here. Eyes either gazing at the floor or softly open. And if you're going one direction, let's go the other direction. Very good. Bring it all back to the center, feet back down onto the floor. If you're lying on your back, go ahead and roll over onto one side. If you're seated, come up to a nice, tall, seated place at the lip, the edge of your chair. Those of you lying on the floor, that hand that's in front of you, go ahead and press yourself up to a tall, seated place. And all of us, just hands to heart center, chin towards the chest. That's where that equilibrium shift that might happen when you go from horizontal to vertical. So just kind of gather your equilibrium here. And we'll do a little bit for the neck and shoulders before we end our class today. So whether you're seated on the floor or on the chair or the couch, let's place the hands together. It's called swimming dragon. And it's just the soft palms together. You're going to press elbows one direction and then take your chin, look over the other direction. Just notice what you notice here. Anything going on. Then with your next inhale breath, inhale, bring everything back to the center. Sit up tall. Very good. Exhale over to the other direction. Elbows may be draped or drooped or parallel. And again, inhale back to the center. Gentle press here. Exhale, push it away. Listen to the noise going in and out through that nose. Inhale back to the center. Very good. And release. So we're going to do something for the neck and shoulders to bring more blood flow into the brain. It's called spread the feathers. We do this in our seated Tai Chi class. So we're going to take the hands, spread them out like big old starfish, bring it out to the side. Then you take your thumb and you kind of turn it to the top of the room. So you get a little bicep, tricep action here. Now sit up tall. Very good. And we're going to take the opposite ear, drop it towards the shoulder, and then lift your chin. So this gives more carotid blood flow to the brain here. You may be feeling some stuff going on here too. And then return it back to the center. Very good. Let's do the other side. Again, spread the feathers. And then, again, turn the thumb to the top of the room. Very good. And then opposite ear drops towards the shoulder. And then lift the chin. Excellent. And then bring it back to the center. We're going to do a little thymus thump. You know, when we become over the age of 30, we lose our T cell production. So we take our peace fingers and we go find that collarbone, go about 1 or 2 inches below that, and tap, tap, tap. Right below that is the thymus gland. So during, these winter, spring months, lots of seasonal flu, colds, viruses. So this ups your immunity, ups your T cell production. I always like to make a little sound when I do this. I know it's kind of goofy, right? That's okay. Thump, thump, thump. Very good. Clap those hands. Again, get that heat going on into the palms. Great for your circulation, osteoarthritis, arthritis, and then move it into the fingers. And just for a little brain stimulation, we're going to tap, tap, tap the top of the head. Wake up the brain. It's been enjoying this back yoga class. Mess up the hair. Very good. All right, let's place our hands to heart center. You can choose whichever configuration you like today. And I invite you to drop your chin towards your heart center and think about one thing that you're grateful for today. It could be the place where you lay your head down at night, the food that you eat, maybe the people that are surround you in your everyday life. Envelop them into your heart space. Good. You can keep your chin lowered or gaze forward. And we'll end our class today. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Let's take the peace, the strength, and the understanding, and that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for healthy backs. I'm going to stop the recording. Did it stop?